Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Crew Review.
For you.
Thank you.
For you.
It's been so long.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been since August since we've done a show.
What a break, guys.
Yeah. We made such a big deal about starting the podcast back in August because the theaters reopened and we watched Tenet and then they closed the theaters again. So,
what do you do?
It was very sad. It was very sad.
But we just had enough of it, of this hiatus. So we're back and you're just going to deal with it. And so...
Have to deal with us talking again.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Deal with it.
Too bad. So we're reviewing Soul, Disney's Pixar Soul. So I hope you watched it. If not, go ahead and watch it right now.
Pause.
And welcome back. So, what'd you think? All right. So I think every one of us had already seen it before we decided to do this podcast, except Beth.
Sure.
What was your first thought reaction about it?
Before or after I watched the movie?
After. Would you, if somebody was like, hey, have you seen Soul? What'd you think about it? What would you say?
I would say it was okay.
Okay. It was okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of good actors in it. We got Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey. Any other favorites you want to shout out to?
Oh, I've got some favorites.
Oh.
Let's hear it.
We've got Moss from IT Crowd
Yes.
as one of the Jerrys, and then Fortune Feimster is one of our favorite comedians. She's the Uber driver on Office Christmas Party. She's one of the Jerrys, so I loved that. And Felicia Rashad, Mrs. Huxtable,
I remember
right?
seeing her face on one of the trailers before it came out.
Yeah,
I
she
was
was his mom. So a lot of big names on here.
Oh, yeah.
You got Questlove from The Roots, from Jimmy Fallon and The Roots.
Yes.
He was Curly.
Mm-hmm.
And then David Diggs, Thomas Jefferson, and Lafayette from
Yes.
Hamilton was Paul, the kind of annoying guy in the barbershop. You know what I'm talking
The one
about?
who he accidentally takes
Who
back.
Terry gets.
gets.
Yeah. So good stuff.
That's
Good
so
stuff
funny.
happening.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, the first one that jumped out to me was Moss, whatever the actor's name is. What is it?
Richard Ioade.
Yes.
Something like that.
He
I
has
don't know how to say his
such
last
a-
name.
You should go by Moss.
Yeah, he has such a
Always.
unique voice. It's like
Yeah.
as soon as you hear it, you know it's him. He was also in Mandalorian. He played
a
a
robot.
robot.
Yes.
And as soon as
Sorry,
he
a
talked,
droid.
we both freaked out. We're like, it's him! It's him!
Those are some of our favorite episodes of TV ever. IT Crowd, I would say, for me personally.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
good one. If you enjoy British humor, watch it. If you don't, watch it
Don't
anyway.
watch
and
it.
then what?
You still have to watch it.
Don't
and then
listen
you
to
just
her.
get over it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's really
I didn't know you
good.
were going there.
Don't watch it.
Don't watch it. What?
Vicious.
Yeah.
Gotta watch out for Jennifer.
Like, don't watch it. I don't care.
That's funny.
All right.
John does.
So, are we ready to jump into the spoilers? I think I already said one by accident.
Well,
but
spoilers if you're not already spoiled. There you go.
All right.
Too late.
Hit us with that summary, Beth.
Summary time. This is exciting. It's been a while.
I was like, oh yeah, we get a summary. I'm so happy.
Okay, so Soul tells a story of Joe Gardner, a middle school band teacher by day and a jazz musician by night. And he finally lands his dream gig playing with Dorothea. And on his way to get a new suit for the gig, he falls in a manhole and dies. This is how we start this movie. So it's a great start.
It's great.
He
So
dies.
then he finds himself
It's like up.
on this spoilers. Shh.
You haven't seen
And
it
then
by
he
now.
finds
It's too
himself
late.
on the great staircase to the great beyond. Except for he's waited his whole life for this gig, and Joe is not about to stand for this. And so he tries to escape and return to his body and finds himself in the great before, where we have the new baby souls who haven't lived life yet, and they are getting prepped for their descent to Earth. And so Joe is mistaken as a mentor and paired with the most difficult soul of all, number 22. 22 has had hundreds, if not thousands, of mentors. And she has quite a list. Like Mother Teresa is on there and Gandhi. But, Muhammad Ali is another one.
Abraham Lincoln.
Copernicus.
Abraham Lincoln. They cannot get her ready for life. So Joe makes a deal with her. Let me help you find your spark. You give me your Earth pass. You don't have to live life, and I get a second go. She loves it. So they try to find her spark. No luck. So what do? they go into the zone where you have souls who are having an out-of-body experience, and they meet Moonwind. There's several moon people, but Moonwind is the mystic who guides them to Joe's body. Except for things are a little unstable, and so Joe and 22 fall from the zone into Earth, and 22 lands in Joe's body. Joe lands in a cat body. It's a hot mess.
That's funny.
So then he's like convincing 22 to help him get to his gig. They eat pizza. They walk around the streets of New York. They ride the subway. They meet his mom. They go to a barbershop. There's a lot of things happening. And they are experiencing life. And 22 is kind of loving life, to be honest. So there are these mystical beings who are in charge of the great beyond and great before, and they are all named Jerry. One of them, the accountant,
it's so funny.
knows that there's a soul missing and goes on a quest to find them. Brings them all back, so hunts them down on Earth. She's pretty fast, I will have to say. Hunts them down, brings them back. But all of a sudden they realize 22 has her Earth patch. She found her spark for life. So some words are said, things happen. She hands her pass off to Joe. Joe goes and plays his gig and is super pumped about it. But when it's over, he doesn't feel any different. Like he thought this was his life purpose, and it wasn't. And then he starts to realize his life actually was really great and full of wonderful things. So then he goes back into the zone, hunts on 22. She's become a sand monster because she feels like she has no purpose in life. And he helps her, gives her the Earth patch, sends her back to Earth, and then he's accepted his fate that he's dead and he's going to go on to the great beyond. Except the Jerrys were inspired and they give him a second chance at life. And that's Soul.
That's Soul.
And then the credits cue what was that song? The song about having a soul. I can't remember.
There's a lot of songs like that.
It's a good soundtrack.
I don't remember. It's a wonderful soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. The music
yes.
was brilliant.
I love it.
When the part with all the Jerrys, it reminds me of Parks and Rec with
Jerry,
Terry,
Larry.
Gary. Yeah. That's what it made me think of.
If you haven't watched Parks and Rec, you are What's Wrong with America. But you need to go watch it right now.
Pause. Go watch all 7 seasons. Welcome back. What'd you think about Jerry, Terry, Gary, Larry?
I'm telling you, crazy stuff, wasn't it?
That's what I'm talking about.
Right there.
It's a wild ride.
All right, what shall we talk about first about this movie?
So let's just talk about your favorite scene.
Favorite scene. If you hear a baby in the background, that's
Carson.
That's ours. It's Carson.
You remember when Carson was in Jennifer's belly and on the podcast, right? And now Carson's not.
And now he's not. Now he's crawling around.
They did have a couple of peeps into the window of our
we did all the oceans ones
so
from
they
our
got
living
to
room.
see him
Oh, yeah.
then, but he's definitely
Yeah,
That's
gonna
right.
be
Y'all seen
appearances.
him. You've seen
You've seen
him.
him.
He's crawling now. We're in trouble.
Getting so big.
Yeah, he literally just started crawling
Just
a few days
started
ago, so
crawling.
it's great.
It's fun. Favorite scene?
Favorite scene. Do you have one off the top of your head?
No, I need to think about it because Disney Pixar is important. I want to be specific. So I'll pass my turn, but I want to circle back. Circle back.
I loved the hippies, the moonwind, and all that.
Yes.
The whole, just, I mean,
so
just in
great.
general, him and his little sign flipping, and that's how he gets to the zone. He just starts flipping his sign. It's so funny to me.
That's a very you scene. That's a very,
Yeah.
That's so true. It's so true. I could see you rocking a sign flipping position.
Yeah.
That to me was a really funny reveal because he's so zen and such a hippie, and then they talk about how they get to the zone and it's like people kind of zone out in whatever they're doing.
Meditation.
And so you're expecting him to be
Prayer.
meditating, doing like a drum circle, I don't know, yoga. No, he's flipping a sign on New York City's street corners, and it's great. I love it.
What are y'all's favorite scenes?
I really enjoyed the scenes where just kind of the whole section where Joe was trying to help 22 discover herself, and he kind of starts off with the Hall of You, which when he is like, Joe's Hall of You was so sad. He goes in, because he was pretending to be that scientist,
Dr.
Borgenstein,
whatever.
I
Yes.
don't remember.
Bjorn Borgenstein.
Yeah, and it was just kind of all these bright colors and all this stuff happening, and then they switched to the Hall of View for Joe, and everything got blue. And
I noticed that too. I was like, the lighting is all blue.
It is. And then the Hall of Everything was a lot of fun too.
So
just kind of trying
funny.
out everything where, she's like, pretending to be the president. Nope. And in a rocket. Nope. Just all trying out all these different things.
Firefighter blip.
The firefighter blip.
Oh, she's like,
I kind of want to let the fire burn.
That's true.
Yeah.
I related to that moment.
So I really liked that whole kind of piece, but I also liked the perspective of it because really, when you look at everything that was happening in the Hall of View, some of it was sad, Joe by himself, but he's teaching, middle school band, and his mindset at that time is that it's not what he wants to do, And I really, I have a question for the end that I'll ask now and let you think about it, but my end question was kind of, because the ending's a little ambiguous. It kind of just ends with Joe coming back with, so what does Joe end up doing? What do you think he ends up doing? Now, whether he ends up staying in a teaching position or not, I think it's clear throughout the movie, Joe's definitely found his groove and kind of inspiration. And so I think that would even change the mindset of the Hall of View, where a lot of things that he just thought were negative pieces were really actually positive pieces. So I liked the way they did that.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was a lot of perspective. So that was one of my favorite little pieces.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Beth?
I mean, I love the hippies. They're awesome. I think they were great. I really love the scene, and this is probably one of my favorite quotes in the movie, is when they get to the end and Joe realizes he's happy with his life and he's satisfied and it's time for 22 to live hers. She's a little scared to jump off into the hole where they go, the souls are going to earth, and so he says, I'll go with you, and she says, you can't do that, and he says, I'll go as far as I can. And so I just love that little, she just needed a little friend and a little nudge.
It's a good moment.
It was a good moment. Got your feels for sure. Yeah,
Pixar knows how to pull those heartstrings.
They do.
Yeah.
Once in a while.
Did you think of one? A favorite scene?
Yeah.
What you got?
Well, it's kind of two.
Well, share.
Because
Share both.
They feed into each other. Okay, so pretty much that entire montage where you see 22 is really just kind of enjoying the world around her. She's playing with the illusion of, flying in the windowsill with her legs, and she's laying on the subway vent, and the subway goes by, and it whoosh, brushes the wind up her face, and she's enjoying pizza, that kind of, those combined snippets when she's listening to the music in the subway. You don't understand the significance of that really until the end, which is kind of more of my highlighted favorite parts, when he comes back to 22, and she is stuck in that sand trap. And all he does is he just, gets them all to disappear by pulling out the little propeller seed from his pocket. And she just kind of snaps out of it. And that's just kind of where you realize that she found her spark by just enjoying life. And I was like, oh, that's so deep.
It is deep.
Deep moment
How
alert.
deep can you go, Disney and Pixar? It was great.
Well, and coming, building on that a little bit, Joe's kind of one-sided view of what the spark is. He's like, that's your purpose. They're like, at the end, no, it's not your purpose. It's something that may spark your enjoyment of life, but you're not held to this is all you do. You can enjoy so many aspects of life. You you can find that avenue through a lot of different ways, but you can enjoy life and not have to stay in one little box and live life,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Good stuff.
So, favorite quote, Beth, you said yours. One of mine that comes to mind is when it's at the beginning of the movie when he finds out he's no longer a part-time teacher and becomes full-time, and the teacher grabs him out of the room and says, sorry to bother you. He says, oh no, you're giving my ears a break. And the little kid comes out. He's like, hey, he says, not you, you're great. And then he walks away and he goes, he's not.
That's a good moment.
I love that. That was good. Mine are always comical. There's always these deep, I'll let you guys do the deep ones. There's always something funny that just gets That was mine.
All the ones I wrote down were comical too this time.
Okay.
Don't
There's
worry.
another one that was funny that I loved. But
One
I'll
of-
let you go first.
Well, I have 2 quotes. I guess I just have 2 quotes. Well, I have 3. One's, but I'll share them later. Moonwind was kind of sharing about the lost souls and how they, can get lost. He said, if you're in that zone too long, you become obsessed with it. And he said, I was a lost soul once too. Tetris. Tetris draws you in, And then 22, they're talking about why she sounds like a middle-aged woman, and she says, "I just use this voice because it annoys people." That was a good line.
And Joe's like, it's very effective.
It's very effective. Yeah. That was a good moment. So
So great.
yeah.
It's crazy to think she was the 22nd soul ever.
I know.
She's been around a while because he's like in the billions. So
Yeah.
He's like, Jerry at the beginning when they're pairing people up, is like, oh, one of my favorites, 100 whatever trillion, billion soul. It's like, there's a lot of souls, and it's one of his favorites. Like, okay, sure.
Sure.
I love at the beginning when they're in like the great before, and 22 is like throwing around souls. And Joe's a little concerned about him. And she's like, oh, you can't crush souls. That happens on Earth.
I loved when they were sending the souls through, like trying to give them their personalities. It's like,
pavilions.
Yeah, the pavilions. Oh, what was the one they sent them through? And they were like, we should really stop sending a lot of them
She's
through there.
self-absorbed.
Self-absorbed. We
Self-absorbed
should
and
really stop
aloof,
sending so
too.
many souls through there. That was good. Did you say your favorite quote, Jen?
I didn't, but I don't know if I could narrow it down. I've watched this movie a lot since it came out on Christmas. Don't ask how many times. I couldn't tell you. I lost count. John's nodding.
A lot.
1 trillion.
Not that many. I don't know if I have there's a lot of good one-liners, but there's nothing really sticking out right now for me other than the one I'm thinking of right now is right after they break out of the hospital and 22 decides that she's just going to sit crouched in a corner away from all the noise and the people because there was, really kind of experiencing what it's like at birth when she walks outside the hospital with all the lights and the noise, and she's not having it because she got scratched by Joe, who's the cat. She freaks out and she hides. She was like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to sit right here and die because your stomach is, I don't even remember the word that she says, you're going to die here any moment because your stomach is like, dang, what's the word?
I don't
I'm
know.
butchering it. Basically, it was hungry. But she's like, your stomach is doing something, and I think you're just gonna die here any minute.
You're gonna die here anyway.
Joe just goes and gets a piece of pizza and brings it back to him.
Oh,
and
man.
she's fine.
That was kind of the first little life thing. 22 enjoyed pizza.
Yes.
What a good first life thing to enjoy.
That was really
Am I
her
right?
spark.
Am I right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That was her spark.
Cool. It's a spark. Sparks.
Yes.
Sparks
Spark in the
fly.
spark.
Yeah.
What would be your spark
Sparkity
for being excited about living life?
What do you think your spark is?
Tap into the great before. See if you can remember your spark, people.
You got
They're
your-
looking at me because
Yeah,
you
you got
want me to
your
answer
spark.
first. You all turned and looked at me at
We're
the
waiting.
same time.
You were talking, so.
We're all stalling
Um,
for discovering our own.
I don't know.
I feel like for me, mine would be a good book. Harry Potter might have been a spark, or
Yeah,
the
it was.
ocean. I do love the ocean. Coffee. Like maybe I smelled coffee, and I was like, yes, let's go live life.
That's when you got your badge.
Yes, it could have been chocolate too. Let's be real. There's a lot of possibilities.
Oh man.
Kinley, what would be yours?
I think movies and television could be a spark.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I feel that. I feel like aggression's probably a spark.
You went through the aggression pavilion.
I went through the aggression pavilion. No. And I like good food. I'm a foodie, so I feel like food's a good spark.
Mine probably was basketball or photography, which I'm not an expert in either of those things or a professional in either of those things, but those are things that I liked early in life and still kind of do. So
Yeah, mine's probably just working in video production. Just ever since we were wee people, We were playing with Dad's camcorder.
The giant thing.
That was the spark, the VHS
like how
camera.
this tiny
At
child
age 9.
carried around this monstrosity of a camcorder is amazing.
It was wonderful.
People's probably my other spark. Just people.
Just people.
Not stupid
Aw.
people. Let's be
Wow.
very clear. Not stupid people.
Are you sure your spark wasn't aggression?
I also went through the aggression pavilion.
Hey, maybe we were there together.
So good. Okay, the Jerrys. Let's talk about the Jerrys for a bit because they are funny.
They are funny. I love that Terry has a seemingly important job at the beginning, but then the whole time the Jerrys are like, okay, whatever, like we don't care. You know, you would think the whole like monitoring, because as this begins and Joe's like fighting to get away from the great beyond, I'm like, is no one else trying this? Is this not like a common thing? Could you think if he has the ability and the mindset to think like, I'm too young to die, whatever, this would be happening all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't seem to care about like the end. It's just like all their attention's at like the great before, or what do they call it? They said they
youth
rebranded the
seminar.
youth seminar.
Yeah.
Rebranding. That's what they said.
Rebranding.
So all the
Rebranding.
Jerrys are concerned with that, and Terry's just counting all the other souls, and they just kind of don't really like him that much, you know? It's like this little annoying guy.
It's so great. And yeah, like when he's escaping, I'm like, is there not security? Because surely somebody has tried this before.
Surely. It was very easy to get out of, too.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, I wondered if, you know, like he fell off to the left of the staircase. Like if he went off the right of the staircase, where would he have gone? That's a question I had.
Maybe that's where Earth was. But he'd stopped having his Earth pass. So, I
It
don't
would
know.
just pop back up.
I
Yeah,
mean,
true,
you don't
true.
necessarily have to have one because the mystics found a way around it. So
Well,
Very
they're
interesting.
they're in charge. They can override the patch.
No, the mystics.
the mystics, the hippies.
Not the Jerrys.
Oh,
No.
oh, yeah. I forgot that's what they were called.
So
Sorry.
that's
Mystics
another
are-
question I had was if the mystics can get around this, surely there's some other loopholes. What loopholes do you think there were?
But I want to know, so the Mystics, we never see the Mystics outside of the, what's it called?
The zone.
The zone.
The zone.
I was like, what zone is it? It's just the zone. We never see the Mystics outside of the zone. And one of my favorite parts is 22's little lair. There's a box, and
It's a
it's
box.
beside the sign that says,
This
just
is
a
just
box,
a
smiley
box.
face.
I noticed
I
that
was
too
like,
the first time watching. I was like,
that's
John, why
so
is there a
funny.
sign that says just a box? That's oddly suspicious.
It is. But I just wonder, I wondered if the Mystics could get out of the zone. But I think they could, because you see the lost soul as 22 is able to get out, you know. I don't know. But you don't see, it doesn't
Well, he
seem like,
said, yeah, the Moonwinds guy, he said, we meet every Tuesday.
right, but in the zone.
Yeah, in the zone. But they can get out of the zone.
Well, but they don't, can they?
Yeah, he was out
Do
of the
you
zone.
mean that his soul can't wander throughout the rest
Right.
of the world?
Like, I'm wondering, can his soul go to the
Like
youth
where the
seminar,
hole is, yeah.
you know?
I knew what you meant.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was trying
Because I know
to
he's in
understand.
the zone. I'm just wondering, can that? But 22's lost soul leaves, but it's 22. She's come and gone through there, you know. So I don't know if that's like a thing everybody can do. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a good question.
An unanswered question.
She's in a unique
Maybe they just
case.
didn't know the secret way.
It might just have to be revealed to you. I don't know.
No.
Have to wait till we go to
Just
the
some
great
thoughts.
beyond.
But yeah, the Jerrys. Going back to the Jerrys, I just appreciated their kind of. They're trying to get things done, but they also are like, whatever.
The first time they were like,
Accounting, you know, whatever.
the first time they were going through their different names, like saying they were all Jerry, I thought I had misheard. I was like, oh, I thought that one was Jerry. And then it was,
Did you say that out loud to me too?
Yeah, I was like, wasn't that one Jerry? Well, which one's this one?
They're all Jerry.
And then it really threw me off when they named Terry, because you're like, oh, so they do have different names. And I was like, so that one's Jerry, that one's Terry, but that one said Jerry. Okay, now I'm confused. And then they talk about later on, they're like, I speak for all the Jerrys or whatever. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't mishear.
It's really funny. It's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What made Jerry the name that they picked?
They probably are fans of Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec.
I
It's
mean-
got to be.
I think so.
I think so.
If you work for Pixar and know the answer, please let us know.
Because I know you're watching.
Why did
I
you
know you're
select Jerry?
listening.
So, all right, next question. If you were a mystic, what would you do to get in the zone? Chalk zone. I think I would be on a beach eating a slice of pizza. As soon as I ate that pizza, I'm there.
In the zone.
I close my eyes and I'm there.
There you go.
I feel like for me, it would be driving because I do zone out a lot
bad.
when I'm driving.
Oh, no.
Watch out, world.
Greenville,
I
be
just love
careful.
I mean, not that I like love driving, but I zone out when I drive.
That's not good.
Can you zone out?
Greenville,
Yeah, I guess
this is for
You
you.
don't have to zone out in a
Be
positive
careful.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, like I
That's on the
mean,
street.
if it was something I was super excited about, I don't know what that would be.
You know, I zone out when I give blood. Or maybe that's blackout.
That's blacking out.
Yeah, I pass
you
out.
pass out. But yeah, I feel like
It's a cop out to get to the zone. Just take my blood. I need to get there.
that's so funny.
It's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. Like if it was a good zone out, maybe riding. But at the same time, I feel
While
like I
you're
could very
riding?
easily. You never know.
I don't know
You
with
never
her
know.
anymore.
If I needed to get
I
there
do
quickly,
zone out when I'm reading books. Like, I'm like, how did I get 4 pages in and I don't know what I read? And then I have to read it again.
that makes me
So that's
sad.
I know. That's only if I'm tired. If it's a boring book. Then if it keeps happening, I'm like, I'm not going to finish this book. So, and then like the OCD part of me is like, no, I must finish. I started. And then sometimes I force myself through. Sometimes I don't. And it just bothers me in the back of my head. I never finish that book. So
It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
it is.
But there's a lot of books out there. You kind of have to release yourself from the bad ones.
Yeah, I need to learn.
That's hard to do.
It is, because we're all OCD on that.
How would you zone out, Jennifer?
How do you think?
Ice cream.
No.
Oh.
Try again.
The suspense.
Ice cream.
You can't answer.
What would it be, Jennifer?
Jigsaw puzzles.
Oh.
With
Oh.
ice cream.
Of ice cream.
She does.
Oh,
She
ice
does
cream.
zone out with puzzles. She
Yeah.
gets into them, and sometimes it'll be several hours later. It's like, oh,
Oh, gotta come up for
Circus.
air.
gotta come up for food
There's
and
a
ice
baby.
cream.
Food and ice cream.
Sorry, I'm just going back to ice cream.
No.
I really want some ice cream now.
Sounds good.
That does sound good.
Mm.
Any, any zone outs for you?
Keep going. I don't know, guys. I think of sleep. I like to sleep. I feel like that's a good like.
Like a dream. You would be a
Dream.
dream wanderer.
Yeah, but I feel the same as Beth. I like reading a good book, and when you get like drawn into it, I feel like that's how I could get in the zone because you're kind of in that story. So,
Yeah.
and I feel the same way about movies and television because we really like a good story. So
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff
Sucked
like
in.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sucked it right in right
it's when it sucks you in, and yeah.
All right.
Probably.
Tinley, who is your favorite character?
My favorite character was probably his mother.
I knew that was going to be your answer.
I really liked, and that was probably my second favorite scene. That scene, their second scene together when he's in the cat body and he has to kind of have that confrontation of what are you doing with your life and all that stuff. And they just kind of express where they're both coming from, and they see each other, and she's like, okay, let's do it, and she's on his side. I just really liked her and her little friends. That was that was
the
good. Where
friends.
she wanted, I can't remember her name, but one of her friends Joe always gave her a kiss, and she's like, come here, give me a kiss. And 22's in Joe's body and goes like, he plants one on her, and she's like, ooh, do that again, you know?
Oh,
She
yeah,
was
that's so
enjoying
funny.
it, so. But that's a good scene, and it was done really well too, because it starts off with Joe as the cat telling 22 what to say, and then the camera kind of pans behind the mom's side, and when it comes out on the other side, it's Joe speaking for himself. So you're able to hear, looking at him, what he's saying, because it's really his message. So well done.
Jennifer, who's your favorite character?
Who did I tell you before was my favorite character?
I don't know.
I was like,
Did you like Dorothea?
Dorothea's good.
She was good. She's voiced by the mom from Black Panther's mom and Black Panther. Just for you to know.
Oh,
So what?
what is happening?
John's trying to give me
I was getting her
cues,
closer to the mic.
but I wasn't listening because I don't remember who my favorite character was. I told you who it was, and I don't remember now. I do really like the sass of 22.
The sass of 22.
22 is pretty sassy. I like 22.
Is that your favorite character?
No, Moonwind is 100% my
Moonwind,
favorite.
right on.
Is he your favorite, John?
No, actually, I mean, I loved him, and he was hilarious, but it was definitely Terry.
Terry.
I just feel like his character was
So grumpy.
and I love his. I know. I love the music that they play. The little.
Yeah.
Should make that my ringtone.
You know, I really
You
didn't.
should.
I said I liked one of the Jerrys. That's who I said I liked. I don't remember which one though.
The main one.
All the Jerrys. My favorite character.
The main one. I don't know who the voice was, but she was kind of in charge, speaking for all the Jerrys. So
We gotta
Giving him the second chance.
yeah.
Yeah.
we gotta wrap up soon here. But one last question, Beth. If there's anything you would change in the movie, what would you change?
I feel like this might tie in with my rating,
I
but
forgot we rated them.
Well, just go. Don't give the rating yet, but just give this, so that when we give the rating, you can just say the rating.
so I feel like there was a lot of just wandering, which was probably intentional because in life we're all trying to like find our purpose, and I feel like we sometimes put too much focus on that, which may have been the point of the way they structured the film. But I felt like some things needed to happen. The plot was a little lacking for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kinley.
There were a couple of plot holes that I noticed, and those things I would like changed. When Terry found out who the missing soul was, that it was Joe, he went and told the Jerrys, and the Jerry that was voiced by Moss was like, "Oh, we set Joe up with 22." It's like they never knew that. They thought he was the scientist guy
It's
or the
true.
psychiatrist.
Yeah.
So there was that plot hole, and then Moonwind could understand Jerry as the cat,
As the
or
cat.
Joe as the cat. Sorry,
I
when no
noticed
one
that
else could. Which
too.
I think it's because he'd be more in tune with the soul side, but he's not. The soul, they're just indifferent people right now. I don't know. It could be explained.
That
but
didn't really like set it up to be plausible.
yeah, and then 22 had all of Joe's memories. She says that early
Yes.
on, but then when he said we've got to go see Des the barber, 22 had no idea who that was.
Yeah.
So,
Ah.
a couple small things for
Yeah.
me. So, I liked the wandering plot. I hear what you're saying. I liked what they did with it rather than have kind of a major climax at the end. They kind of give you a fake climax, so to speak, because you're kind of like Joe like screws over 22 basically. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm like, Joe, what are you doing? And I think there's that hope you'll come back to it. But I thought that was done well. Kind of
Yeah.
have him go through like getting what he wants. It's like, yeah, you're a jerk and you did this, and it was
Yeah.
for nothing, you know.
Yeah.
And that quote Dorothea gives at the end, that is probably my favorite
fish.
quote, the
Oh,
fish.
I do
wrote
like
it
that
down.
quote.
I heard the story about a fish. He swims up to the older fish and says, I'm trying to find this thing they call the ocean. The ocean, says the older fish, it's where you are right now. This, says the young fish, this is water. What I want is the ocean. It's like, that's a really deep quote, you know?
It
That's a
is.
good one. So,
Yeah.
I like that quote too.
yeah.
I have two. Well, I guess one main thing, but it's also Jennifer put the idea in my head, so I want to see if it's what you think it is.
I don't remember because I have mom brain. So
Okay, so what would you change? I'll come back to me because I don't want to steal your thunder if it's the same thing.
I don't remember.
Mine was the very end, how we talked about this, how we would have liked to have seen when he gets back to.
Oh, I do.
Okay,
I
I'll
do.
let her
Okay,
say
I
it.
remember. So in the movie, they talk about how when he's in the hospital and they're waking up, they're at the guy in the hospital is asking whoever owns the cat,
The cat lady.
Whiskers.
cat lady,
Yeah,
the whatever therapy you want to call that. He's like, oh, has next of kin been contacted? And I was like, no, it hasn't. I was like, do you know if he had any friends? And Joe's later comments like, no, I don't really have any real friends. But my question is, who's he talking to on the phone when he gets the gig?
Oh, I noticed that.
I'm like, why did we not address whoever he's talking about? Because in that phone call, he's like, don't tell my mom, though. I'm like, who are you talking to? Who knows your mom? And who's not been, like, coming to see you
Everybody
because you've
knows
been
his mom.
MIA?
Well, and they joke
That
about
bothers
a relationship he has with, or a former relationship, Lisa. Is
Lisa.
that Lisa?
Yeah.
We never find
never
out
circle
about
back.
what
We never
happened.
find out about Lisa. I hope he goes back to Lisa, you know.
You know, maybe they're going to create a sequel to this movie, but they're going to call it Body and Stuff. It's going to be about what Joe did with the rest of it.
Well, there you go.
Pixar, please do that.
Mine was that actually wasn't what I was talking
Sorry.
about, but that was another one that she and I discussed. But the other one that we discussed was at the very end of the movie when they let Joe go back. We wanted to see, we would have liked to have seen him find 22 and like hope that she would have been one of his students.
Yes.
That would have been
They could
cool.
include that in
really
the body.
missed
I was like, oh my
opportunity.
word, that movie
Absolutely.
could have been 100 billion times better.
That would have been a beautiful tag at the end of the credits. That would have
Yeah.
been cool.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of put a little like scene.
Yeah.
I agree. I was looking for that because I was like, oh, they
Yes,
had
they
this
have.
big adventure, and I would love for them to be connected.
I will say I noted when 22's going to Earth, it looks like she was going to land somewhere in the middle of Asia.
Oh.
So
Ah.
just saying. It looked, because that little thing, the Earth pass started beeping and kind of zoned
Yeah.
in. It looked like she was heading for, Eastern Europe or Asia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right, real quick, what's our ratings?
Is this out of a 10-point scale?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
you can. And you can do halves.
Don't
You can do
remember.
10-point scale, and you can do halves.
Okay.
Ashley gave this movie a 6.
Okay.
I would also, well, not also. I'm giving this movie a 6.5.
Okay.
Ooh.
Enjoyable. I really liked the music. I really liked the look of it. Yeah, I liked they kind of blurred some different animation styles. If you look at the Soul's hands and even Joe's glasses, they're kind of outlined animation.
Yes.
Very well done. The music was neat. The Disney intro with the band playing
love
and that
that.
transition.
So good.
Just a lot of creativity. So I'm giving this one a 6.5. Brought it back because of some of the plot holes I had for you. I like this movie, but I'm probably not going to watch it over and over again. So, sorry.
I will. It's okay. We don't have to
Beth?
agree.
Yeah, I would give it a 5. I thought for me it just kind of lacked like the oomph that I needed, but it was enjoyable. It was beautifully animated. Music was great. I would not watch it again.
I give it a 7. Very creative, very visually awesome. Love the music. Just needed a little more on the plottage.
Plottage.
I do 7.5. And I was going to give it an 8, but there were some things left dangling that kind of bothered me. And, I may change that rating if they come out with a sequel to this movie.
Lisa,
I will
Who
watch
are
it
you?
over and over again.
Lisa, if you're listening, please let us know who you are.
did you reconnect with Joe?
But I will
All right,
watch the
Kinley, you
movie
got the
again.
final result for us?
You gave it a 7, right, John?
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Calculating.
All right. The
Come on,
cruise
Terry.
review.
You're
I'm
Terry.
the Terry of the
You're
group.
the
That's fun. Yeah, call me Abacus. That'll be my new name. Abacus.
Abacus.
Crew review for Soul is 6.4.
6.4.
There you go.
We did enjoy
6.4.
it.
We did.
If you got Disney Plus, go watch it.
I watched
Enjoy
it
it.
10 times. You can come to my house and watch it with me.
John's like, no, please.
Oh man,
John doesn't watch
I
it with
don't
me.
care. I don't care. It's fine. All right, well that's the end of
I
the
watch it
episode.
person.
Thank you all for watching and follow us on social media. The Crew Review.
You want to take us out?
What?
Take us out?
Not yet. I will. At the Crew Review podcast. Right? It's been so long.
You're
You're
That's
the one in
right.
charge of it.
I know, but it's been 6 months since we've done this, so.
It's the Crew review.
Okay,
podcast.
the Crew Review
Yes.
podcast on Instagram, Facebook.
We're blue.
However, you can subscribe to us on iTunes and Spotify. Please leave a review. That would be great. It helps us out a lot.
Review our crew review.
Yes, review the crew.
And then we can
Before
review
we
your
review
review
you.
of our review.
Ooh.
Oh,
Review
we-
Inception.
Oh, yeah.
that would be fun. If we got enough
man.
reviews, we review them.
Yeah.
Also,
We'll review you.
we'd love to know what you think about these movies that we are reviewing. Send in your comments about it.
Yes.
Your ratings.
Give us your ratings. We'll do an audience review on one of these days on a movie.
I would like that.
All right. Until next time, we go big tonight.